Hey guys, this is SF, and sorry that I haven't been really doing a lot of videos lately. I've really been busy. I've been really crazy. It has been really crazy in real life, so I didn't have time to do a lot of videos or upload a lot of videos. But I've been working on this project, which is the wiki. For people that don't know, it's just a giant wiki of Monster Strike because Strike Shot is kind of dead, so I kind of converted into that. And that's basically it. I'll hopefully have more time in the future, but for right now, especially for this month, might not be a lot going on my YouTube channel. But hopefully I will pick and choose of what to do, and I really want to do a commentary for this upcoming event, which is the 34 million download campaign in JP. It starts in a few days. Well, actually it starts now because there are some events that are happening right now, and you see a lot of stuff coming. And I'm gonna start at the bottom, work my way up to the top because the top is the meat of the campaign, and the bottom stuff start off a little bit slow, and then we're gonna go crazy at the end of this video. So first thing is the normal campaign stuff. So pretty sure you've seen this in the last week or the week before when you just started JP, because a lot of people have converted to JP starting this month. So ×3 drop rate on Dragon Gems, ×3 drop rate on Divine Shells. So these two things right here. And then you have half stamina on daily quests. And this also combines with the ×3 drop rate on the Divine Shells and the Dragon Gems. So they're basically two in the same. Pretty sure some people have seen that already in the Yu Yu Hakusho collaboration. Next is ×4 experience and reduced stamina on the Library of Memories. For people that don't know what the Library of Memories are, it's basically 5 daily runs of a whole suite of extreme monsters and savage monsters for either materials or for max lucking. The only way to unlock that is for you to be rank 70. So usually you rank up through the trials or the normal dungeons in JP, and then you'll probably get to 70 once you hit once you do like at least 10 to 15 trials in there. Next one is Mega Fusathon, relatively simple. Half stamina on Temple of Heroes, relatively standard for people that don't know how to get Temple. It's just once you hit rank 50, then you will be you'll be ready. Okay, next thing, daily login bonuses. Basically, log in every day for 15 days. You get 15 orbs, and then you get all these materials. So red stones, max stones, all these stones and shells. You don't get divine shells, but you do get some in the next topic about this. And then you also get dragon gems, 1 each. So make sure you basically log in every day. The days reset at 4 AM JST. So in EST time, that is 3 PM of the day before, or if you're PST, then that is 12 PM of the day before of JST. So right now, the 16th, May 16th, I don't know when this video comes out, but it's May 15th, 3 PM in EST time to get 1 orb, and then max stones 30 max stones, and then 20 stones as well. So just make sure log in every day. Okay, next one, weekly mission revamp. A lot of people have been asking what these weekly missions are and stuff like that. Most of the time it's just clear 10 events, clear 20 events, 30 events, and then you get whatever that reward is for the most part. Some beginners might have to do a daily quest, and then that last one is usually a turtle quest. Especially with people that have all these clear events, usually it's only the turtle 1 XP quest, and then that should be it. But I am doing this weekly mission revamp because it's a lot different, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will really like the rewards. So I'm just gonna throw this table out here. So clear 10 events, 1 dark dragon gem, 20 event quests, 2 dark dragon gems, 30, that's 2 orbs, clear 3 daily quests, and that is dragon gems, evolution materials, or XPs, and that'll be 1 divine shell, and then clear all of them, then that is 3 orbs. These are cumulative, of course, so in total you get 3 dragon gems, 5 orbs, and 1 divine shell. Just make sure you check the notes if it applies. So daily quest is limited to XP, evolution, and dragon gems quests. Mission clears, the counts is only for daily ones is solo, host, or guest. So if you're hosting a co-op or if you join in the co-op run, then that will count. However, in the event quests, it's only solo or if you host it on co-op. You will not get that clear if you join in a co-op run. And then weekly missions only show when you're above rank 3, but that's relatively irrelevant for a lot of you. And one thing you have to know, some people might have questions in terms of what difficulty of these event quests or the daily quests. It is any difficulty you want. Anyone, it could be hard, normal, whatever. Some people might just do like the really hard ones just for less stamina and quicker time to finish all these. And make sure it starts next week, not this week. Next week. And why I kind of really want to talk about this a little bit is because of the Dragon Gems. For people that have been following the JP scene for a while, that is because most likely either this week's Monster Strike news or maybe next week's Monster Strike news, they will announce a new Transcendent monster, and that monster is going to be a Dark. And I'm gonna let your minds run wild. I'm not gonna jinx it basically for my predictions. Okay, final event, and this is the meat of everything. The Limited Quest Revival Festival coming out next on the 20th and goes on for about 2 weeks. And I want to say this, I want to warn you guys and say this in the beginning. I'm pretty sure everybody's it's already like franticking. Holy crap, what to max luck? Holy crap, what to whatever, who's good, who's not, who's whatever. I really have to warn you guys. And for people that have been following me for a few years, last year this happened again. This happened for the first time actually last year, and I got swamped. Like trying to max luck all these guys. And they added even more since last year. The only thing that wasn't here on this list is of course the new stuff that came throughout this year. So like the newer ones like Miyabi Birthday. I think Akagidin was not there last year as well. Like those types of monsters. And also Princess Sakuya. For people wondering why Princess Sakuya is not here, it's because she was here last year. I mean not last year, last month. For like 2 months, and it was like, and you know, a lot of people had time to max luck her because of Princess Sakuya X. For people who want to max luck Princess Sakuya X. And for people wondering where the hell is Princess Sakuya X, and that is because it was an area quest and only people in Japan could have access into those quests, into that quest. So, like I said, I got swamped because you are limited to a specific number of sessions. I know a lot of people are really happy for this to come back and all that stuff, but you are on a time limit. You're on a specific time limit, and if it's the same as last year, it's going to be 3 sessions of each monster. So for people that want to max luck everything, then go for it. I don't recommend it because that's what I did last year. I got totally swamped, and I'm going to say more stuff about it in the end of the video about why it's not good. But in 3 sessions, you'll probably be able to max luck most of these guys in general. So like, you know, if you really experience or have a good monster box for that specific quest. But you do have to make sure of time zones, especially if you're on the North American side of the world, because usually they're not always on at midnight. Even though there's a time zone difference, it's not always on a midnight or early morning before you go to work or something like that. And of course, these does not go, most of this don't come out on like really late at night in Japan time, which is afternoon time for us North Americans or whatever part of the world you are. So make sure you check the schedule and see if that time, if all 3 times, or most likely it's only 3 sessions if it's the same as last year, if those times work for you. For me, usually it takes 2 sessions to max luck at least one of these guys. So maybe you can get 2 out of 3 sessions and either wake up or do make it in time and stuff like that. But before you choose who to max luck, who's worth the max luck, is to check the schedule if you can actually max luck, because you're gonna waste some time just going for 3 just going for one session and go like halfway in max lucking and then never finishing it until maybe next year if it comes or whatever. There is some hope for some of these guys because of their limited ability, aka the Christmas monsters in like Mary or Oruga. Oops, sorry for the mouse clicks, but you know, I'm doing the highlights and stuff like that. Like Oruga, New Year's stuff like Clucky, Aries, Miyabi, and anniversaries ones probably might come back in like birthday or Cybele. So you can kind of half-ass it in this 2 weeks, and then later in the year when the Christmas stuff comes in, then you can finish it off. But just be careful that in the if these guys come back in like their Christmas and whatever times, they're also limited as well. They're never 24/7 for you guys, or come out every single day for like 2 weeks or a week or 2 weeks. So just make sure you check the schedule, see if you have the time, and of course see if they're worth it. That's all my guidelines in terms of if you should max luck a monster or not. Like, you know, before you start choosing which ones to max luck or not, because most likely you're not gonna have the time. Either you're busy sleeping, or don't have the monsters for it, or you cannot make it to every single session and what have you. But I am going to recommend some monsters for you guys to choose as to use to max luck, or to get at least for starters. A lot of people, especially the starters, might not be able to max luck everything, or even max luck one of them, depending on what max lucks you already have or don't have. So I'm going to go these by elements. So first one in the fire, my most recommended one is Mary. Mary is a double no ability monster in no warp and no gravity, same as the Dao-chan. She is the fire version of Dao-chan in terms of abilities. Bump combo is the same, I think, as Dao-chan, the with Dao-chan, the evolved Dao-chan. And then the only difference is the strike shot, which is a 16 turn command strike shot. It is a very strong monster, and the dungeon is not that bad if you have monsters like Yamato Takeru. If you're going for extreme monster max lux, then Goldie and Baldy is also nice. You do have time, so you can also always use this time, because there is some time before this thing ever starts, and use, just going down, use that 4 times experience and reduce them on those libraries to max luck whatever monster and kind of chain react it. Of course, these guys will probably be up, or they're probably in the schedule already. Just make sure you check the times and see if you're see if you can work at, and then backtrack to, let's say I can make all the sessions for Mary, backtrack, and then basically get Goldie and Baldy, and then all that, and then kind of chain react it to that way. As some people might really like Fire Noel, I don't really recommend it. Although she is a very strong monster, she's just not that worth it in my opinion. She's a good max luck for Shambhala, but that's pretty much it. There's a lot more no damage wall monsters in terms of the fire category that you can get normally, and it's just as good or even better than Fire Noel in my opinion. Of course, that speed up S is kind of really enticing, but it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. Some really good fire monsters are no damage wall. It's Gremley. I think her dungeon's a lot easier than Fire Noel. And then Rentaro Taki is not that bad either. And even Firefly is also no damage wall fire monster, and he has no block as well, so that's always nice. Wait, is he fire? Whatever. I was thinking if he is no gravity barrier or no damage wall. I think he's no damage wall if I remember correctly. Hopefully he is right. If not, then I'm sorry. But either way, Gremley is a better no damage wall monster than this. Okay, water. Oruga. Oruga is probably the best of the water. There's not much to choose from, especially with Akagi-rin. Like Akagi-rin is not bad, you know, as a double damage wall water monster. Her dungeon's not that bad if you have the right monsters, aka SST Leaf Breaker. You don't have to max out a direct drop quest, which is kind of, I want to say a little bit more about a little bit later. SST Leaf Breaker, Baiken, If you don't know who these are, then check them out. It's on the wiki. And then next one is Mint, the Spirit Boots, the cat, the Hatcher cat. Like I said, it's a direct drop, so max luck doesn't matter. It is a 5-star lore dungeon, and it's a savage, so it's relatively easy for beginners as long as you have those 3 monsters. One catch, of course, is the time limit. So I recommend that you have to make it to all 3 if you want the max luck Akagidin. There is, in terms of the dungeon, it is a direct drop, but it's kind of like Lucas. For people that have been playing Global, it's like Lucas. There is an evade, where once you defeat it, then you can get an extra drop. Akagidin actually has 2 invades, and has 2 invades as well. So max you can get 3 drops to 2 invades and the direct drop at the end. So per run you can probably get to 3 drops. It does take some practice because the invade, Akagidin does run away relatively quickly, so you have to get some practice in there. So that's why I kind of recommend you have to make it to all 3 sessions to max luck her. But of course you can probably replace her with like a Louis 13, and then she's kind of meh in my opinion. But she's very easy for beginners if you have those Hatcher monsters, and a lot easier to max luck in than Louis 13. But Louis 13 is not that bad once you have some good monsters in your box, even if it's like a Jack, the pumpkin Jack, not the chainbound Jack. Okay, next one is Oruga. I do have to say, for people that do know Oruga, is that she does have Ascension form. What you call it? The Ascendant materials. The Ascendant materials will not be available during this time frame. So you cannot get the Christmas Verdun, the Christmas Green Smydra, or Santa Claus to ascend Oruga. Just to let it out there, because I know some people will probably want to actually ascend her instead of evolving her for whatever reason. But it's just that you can't right now. You might have to wait for Christmas to actually get that Ascended materials. And Oruga's not that bad in terms of dungeons. There's a lot of really strong no gravity barrier monsters out there, and you can basically outpower her dungeon. You can even bring like Hunter King in there and outpower her DNT Slayer relatively easily. Okay, next, wood monsters. There's a lot of good wood monsters. For people that have farmed Skull Dragon, then you can imagine how easily that is. It is kind of hard without some cloud monsters that are already in JP that you can kind of use if you're in the friend slot, or you have friends that actually have those. It's even more easier in JP with those guys. But if you've been playing with like Frazier and Asmodeus, then Skull Dragon is not bad in terms of dungeon, and he's not bad of a monster as well. Next one, Halloweena. If you're going for Yamato Takeru Zero, then you go for Halloweena for max luck. She is the best extreme max luck in the game for Yamato Takeru Zero. There is a lethal monster called Joya Bell 108 that's better than Halloweena in Yamato Takeru Zero, but that dungeon is really difficult. And for beginners, it's kind of impossible in my opinion, depending on what monsters you have and don't have. Like even if you have the right monsters, it's kind of meh for some people. So I recommend Halloweena for you guys if you want Yamato Takeru Zero. Yamato Takeru Zero is like in terms of monsters, like but if you want, I think like even getting like the normal Yamato Takeru through Skull Dragon is a little bit better than Yamato Takeru Zero. But down the line, if you're going to max luck or try to beat Yamato Takeru Zero, especially when you're doing like towers and jades and stuff like that, she is a very good monster for it. So at least have one. If you want to max luck, then by all means max luck it, but at least get one of her, or even 2 or 3, just to fill those spots. And then if you don't have really good Hatcher monsters. Okay, next one that I really want to recommend is Clucky. She is by far, I'm gonna say this out loud and have no regrets of saying it, she is your main prize of this event. Whatever you do, like if you had to wake up for one monster, if you like throughout these 2 weeks, I can only wake up for 3 sessions or stay up for 3 sessions or even do 3 sessions her 3 sessions is the best one you can go for. She, outside of these 4 guys, so Yamato Takeru, Tsukiyomi and Tsukiyomi Zero and Lubu, she's also good for tire floors like the 22nd floor, 28th floor, and you can probably even get her into the 30th, 35th, or the 40th floor as a filler. She is by far the prize of this event, and everybody should have at least get 1 or 2 of her. And if you're gonna max luck, go the freak hell out of that and go crazy on it. However, her dungeon is relatively difficult. It's no damage walls, and there are some scorpions, so you need some scorpion clears, bomb combos as well. So dungeon is kind of hard, but depending on the monsters, I'm gonna get like at least the recommended monsters out there to for you guys. Maybe not the full guides when everything starts, but at least get all those recommended monsters out there for you guys to actually beat, to actually kind of go for. In terms of max slugs, there's not much out there. I really like Gremlin in this one, and then you can have some friends that have like an Avalon or even a Nirvana. In terms of Hatcher monsters, you can go for Himiko, Coral, and you know, fire no damage wall monsters. Like even Evolve Sakamoto Ryoma is not that bad either. But why she's really good, no gravity bear, no block, 2 abilities, and no blocks coming mad, but you know, it's not, but it's very useful in Tsukiyomi Zero. And then not 16 turn, it is a clone stretch out, same as Hakua. I think it's about 20 turns for her, and then blast bomb. So nothing crazy bad about her, it's just that she doesn't do damage, but like at least her bomb combo is useful for support rather than damage. So you know, she is the prize of the of this event. So if you're gonna try to max luck 1 monster or wake up for 1 monster, then she's your monster. Okay, light. Light doesn't really have a lot. For people that know me, Yokozuna is the only max luck that I didn't max luck in this in last year, and he's been sitting in my box for 97. And then time in terms of other light monsters, birthday, very strong monster. Let's take a little bit look of her. So as you can see, no ability, but she has a gauge of no gravity bear and no damage wall, and bump comes after that. Stretch out is kind of meh. On paper is really good. 2 no abilities and 2 of the main ones. It's just that it's on the gauge, and it's super fast, really fast. It's as fast as Ascendant Oruga. So most likely beginners will have a rough time using her, but she's relatively an easy max luck, and you can chain it relatively fast for beginners. So first off, you get Sentry Dragon from the Trials, the normal dungeons, and then chain that to Princess Takayasha in the library, and then you use Princess Takayasha onto birthday stage, and she's a relatively easy dungeon in my opinion, as long as you have like 2 or 3 Takayashas and then 1 like Eclipse or something like that, and that'll be really easy for that dungeon. But of course on paper it's really good, but you know, in practice it's kind of difficult for beginners, so take what you will. Take what you will. Okay, Dark Saibou. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know Saibou very well, and of course she is a very strong monster, especially for Izanagi Zero. For people that don't have really good monsters for Izanagi Zero or Max Lux, she is your girl. She is your girl. However, there is a catch, and that is the difficulty setting in terms of Extreme plus EX. In the beginning of this section of the video, I did say you're limited on time, and since you're limited on time, Saibou, getting Saibou to max luck is going to be difficult because you have to play 2 dungeons just to get adequate drops. Like basically you need to play 2 dungeons to basically get the same amount of drops for normal extremes. That I'm not really talking about how hard the difficulty in terms of the dungeon is, but the time it takes to defeat the dungeon. you're basically going for 10 minutes per run, just for the same amount of drops for like 5 to 6 minutes per run for a normal extreme, or even 7, depending on how long it takes and the difficulty of that dungeon. So just make sure you really need 3 sessions for Saibao if you're gonna max like Saibao. So make sure you plan it out accordingly. In terms of OP monsters, there's a ton of OP monsters in the game right now. Even there's probably even more in JP than what you have used in NA or Global. So just make sure you get that. If you're gonna plan on it, then plan on it. So usually, like, this video is mainly for beginners to see which one you really want to get. Did do like 5-6 monsters that you really should get max luck, get out of the way. But if you're just starting, if you've been playing for a few months, then some advice for you. Of course, all the guys that I recommended are really strong, but they are replaceable in the grand scheme of things, and it's mainly for the guys that max luck regularly and not like kind of start out with just like 1 or 2 max luck, like that has high versatility and stuff like that. If you're going for those, like if you're going to 100 plus max lucks, 50 to 100 plus max lucks, then my recommendation is always get max luck monsters with both a node ability and a slayer ability. So things like Tokuga Yoshimune with the no damage wall and Demon Slayer, that's a good monster for you to max luck, because the chances of her being replaced as a max luck with a lot of other monsters is very low. There's probably a wood monster that has walls and a demon boss, and the boss is a demon out there. I'm pretty sure there is. It's not donging on my head right now. And if you're max lucking regularly, you know, then of course bring it. If you don't really care about max lucking a lot and just want like a handful of monsters, then you know these are not that relevant to you guys. Things like Daisy is not that bad, but I don't really care about Daisy that much. If you're going for rank farming, then Daisy is very good, because the best in terms of time and time efficiency and all that stuff, it needs a fire pierce monster, so Daisy kind of fits that bill. And her dungeon is relatively easy if you have Susano or really strong water monsters. Other things that are really good, like Reindeer is also nice, no warp and Mech Slayer M, and Strike Shot is a explosion, and her dungeon is really easy. It's only a 2 out of 10, and it's basically a pinching dungeon with fire monsters, and it's no gravity barrier, so like Sun does. You can probably bring like a Cow if you have Roma, probably the best monster out there, because there's wind, but it's not that big of a problem. But you know, Roma has no wind and no gravity barrier in there. Miyabi, Pierce, no warp, and Demi-Human Slayer, god, and perfect for Kushina if you need a really fast Miyabi. Next one is Spookcat, is a Pierce, Demon Slayer, and a no gravity barrier, if I remember correctly, and she's also Pierce. So like if you're looking for something that's really cool to max luck and won't get replaced in the near future, go for monsters that have a no ability and a Slayer ability in the same monster, so chances are that they won't get replaced. Of course, you can replace them with like something that has, for example, Miyabi is only a no warp monster. You can probably replace it with another no warp monster, but there is going to be a monster that is a demi-human and a no warp. Actually, there is, and there was, which is Sensui Minoru. I use Miyabi for max luck. Of course, that might be the only time I'll use Miyabi as a max luck. At least she has a use. At least you can. It makes one max luck monster a little bit faster than what would you have used in terms of a normal regular no warp monster. So, or a little bit easier because she's a Pierce and you can just like blind flick it and all that stuff. So if you're in that middle of the pack or into the elite, quote unquote elite status, then always go for monsters with no abilities and Slayers in the same one. But that's pretty much it for the 34 million download campaign, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about JP. But for people that just converted, this is the first time you get the meaty greedy of the JP content and the fast-paced content that you've been hoping for in global but never got. And it's nice on paper, you've got all these stuff to do and you'll never get bored and what have you. But for people that want to do everything, it's a total swamp. It's really bad for people that want to do every single thing in this whole campaign. PS, outside this campaign, there's a lot of stuff coming out. There's a new series coming out for probably like this week, I think. As of right now, I don't have any specifics on those monsters or events outside of what's on the Monster Strike news. Just link it there. Next is Tower, if for people that haven't finished Tower, and then or Jades, what have you. And if you're starting out, you might want to farm Dragon Gems or Divine Shells and stuff like that, or Temple of Heroes if you want Able Berries. So there's a whole lot of stuff coming out. It's just that not a lot of time if you only limit to a certain amount of time per day to play Monster Strike. And of course you have to max out, and if you want to actually beat all these dungeons and stuff like that. So it's pretty crazy. Gets all the nitty gritties. Just make sure, just plan yourself ahead and don't swamp yourself too much, because you're hardly gonna get any breaks from now on. And you know, and you might get a little break during the Guardians, not Guardians, Legends at the end of this thing, but most likely, and then after that you get a new series and whatever and what have you. Just make sure you pace yourself and don't get swamped out, because people do get swamped out in this game if you want to do everything and stuff like that. If you want to do as much, like basically for people that play global, you basically completed everything. For people that want all these content at the same time and like a fast pace, but what you call it, but it's going to be hard once you want to do everything in JP, just because of course you're starting out, you're not at the top of your game, you're not on top of content like you were in global, and there's a lot more stuff to do in JP as well. So the amount of effort and time you have to put into getting on top of this game, even if you're already on top of the game in terms of content, it's a lot more than what you have done in global. Some people could have feels like Yu Yu Hakusho, like last in a couple of weeks at the start of this month, is kind of meh in terms of content. It's kind of like a normal global normal global content like pace. That collaboration felt like that, but of course there was Tower, but you know, some people might have taken it slow or already done Yu Yu Hakusho in terms of whatever they wanted to do, already done the Tower and stuff like that. But now this this limited quest revival festival is gonna be crazy. So if you have any questions about the 34 million download campaign, then shoot me a comment down below, or if you don't, then hope for the best and do whatever dungeon that fits for you and what you want in your box. And kind of recap, there's probably going to be a Dark Transcendent monster coming out in a couple of weeks, and all these other campaigns and stuff. And make sure you log in every day for those Dragon Gems as well, because they don't come out, they are not that common for most people. So that's pretty much it for me. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.